Hello dear students. So in this sessions we will understand and discuss about Ind AS 24 that deals with related party transactions. Ind AS 24 on related party transaction. Now here this standard is one where we don't have to calculate a lot of things. This standard is more about understanding who are related parties, identifying who are related parties, what are the related party transaction, and it is more of a disclosure standard, right? The reason why we need to disclose a related party transaction is that the stakeholders, the investors, they should know what kind of transactions is the entity entering into with the related party and what could be the impact of this on the overall financial statement, right? Now here when we talk about a related party, now a related party, when we talk in the context of Ind AS 24, when we say related party, here we have either a person or an entity. So it can be a person or it can be an entity who is a related party, means there is some kind of relationship, but related party of whom? Related party of the reporting entity. So this standard, it is very important for us to understand, and we'll be doing it using some kind of diagrammatic representation that will help us understand what is the type of relationship we are talking about. And very important standard, not only from exam point of view, in examination most of the times you'll be able to identify that yes, there is a related party relationship and hence disclosures are required. You'll be able to do it in most of the cases, but still we must know what are the various categories of related parties and what are the various categories of disclosures that are required. Okay, so when I say, so first at the center you have the entity. This is the reporting entity. This is the reporting entity, means what? The entity that is preparing financial statement. It is the entity that is preparing financial statement. Now this reporting entity is either related to a person, or this person is related to the reporting entity, or there are other entities who are related to this reporting entity. And whenever there is a relationship that exists, then there are some kind of disclosures that are required. Okay, so on one side we have a person relationship, on the second side we have a entity relationship. So person to reporting entity and other entities to reporting entities. To make it simple and easy for us to understand, let us say this reporting entity is Reliance Industries Limited. Reporting entity is Reliance Industries Limited. Now, who is this person we are talking about? The person or a close member of the family. So either the person or a close member of family or the person's family is related to the reporting entity if there are some conditions which are satisfied. So what are we saying? There is this person or a close member of the family. Now, who are close member? Close member is the children, spouse, domestic partner. Domestic partner is used when you have some kind of, let's say, living relationship. Okay, so that is where you have a domestic partner. So though not husband and wife, there is still a domestic partner. Then brother, sister, father, mother. Okay, so all of that. So when we say person and the close member includes this person's children. Then you have spouse, or you have a domestic partner. Then you have this person's then you have this person's brothers, sister. Then you have this person's father, mother. Okay, all of this, and from the spouse or the domestic partner if there are any children, and if there are any dependents. Dependents of whom? Dependents of the person, spouse or the domestic partner. So to visualize it very simply, what you can think of is there is a person, you have a spouse or domestic partner, this person parents, this person children, this person's sibling. Not only that, any children of this spouse, so they may be different also. Okay, someone, let's say, is a someone who is a divorcee. Okay, so this person had married somebody else and then they have children, and then they have divorced and all of that. So if they have children, that is also included, and anybody who is dependent on the person and the spouse and domestic partner. Now these persons, if they, again, so these are the persons, What should the person do? The person should, so I'll just remove this. If you are talking about Reliance Industries Limited, this person or the close member of the family should have either control or joint control. Control or joint control, first category. Second category, has significant influence, or third category is a key managerial personnel, KMP. KMP of whom? KMP of this reporting entity, Reliance Industries, or its parent. Now please understand here what are we trying to say. The person is controlling, so the person has to control or joint control. Any member in the family, the close member in the family, even if they control or jointly control the reporting entity, they are related parties. Second, if this person or the close member of the family has significant influence, ownership of let's say 20%, 25%, where they can influence, they cannot take decisions. In case of control, you can take decisions, and normally we apply control category where we have greater than 50% stake. Significant influence comes to 20% where you can influence. And third, if you are a KMP of the reporting entity or the parent of the reporting entity, then also you are a related party. Now, why is the parent involved here, or why are we saying if you are a KMP of the parent entity, even then you are a related party? Because think of it, there is Reliance Industries, and here let us say there is the parent of the Reliance Industries, not parent of Mukesh Ambani. Okay. Now, if the parent of Reliance Industry, if this parent has a director, this director will be able to have some kind of relationship, influence the Reliance Industries, take decisions for Reliance Industries, because he is a key managerial personnel of the parent entity. Because he is a key managerial personnel of the parent entity, they can take some decisions for this through the parent entity, right? So first category, close member of the family or the person has either control or joint control, first category. Second, significant influence. Third, key managerial personnel of reporting entity or the parent of the reporting entity. So this is one category where you have a related party relationship in case of a person. Now, second case of a related party relationship is when we talk about entity. So you have a Reliance Industries Limited here. Whether this is related to, let us say, Reliance Retail, that is what we are trying to understand, or is this related to Jio? This is what we are trying to understand. Now, in the second category, first category is person, second category is reporting entity and other entities. So our reporting entity is Reliance Industries Limited. What the standard says is, if there is any other entity of the same group. Now, what is the member of the same group? So, for example, Reliance Industries parent, Reliance Industries subsidiary, or this parent has another subsidiary, let us say Reliance Retail. Now, this parent and subsidiary relationship, we say they are member of the same group. We say they are member of the same group. Any entity in this entire group, that is a related party of the reporting entity. Meaning to say, for example, here we have Reliance Industries. The parent is related, the fellow subsidiary is related, own subsidiary is also related. If you look at this subsidiary, this is related, this is also related, this is also related. Anybody in the family, think of it this way, anybody in the family is related. So if there is a group of parent, subsidiary, fellow subsidiary, all of these are related to each other. So it's a two-way relationship. It's not one way, it's two-way relationship. So this is the first category of related party relationship when it comes to entity. Okay, this is the first one. Second one is, if you have, let us say, the entity which is Reliance Industries. Now there is another entity, or this entity is a joint venture of other entity, is a joint venture of other entity, or is an associate of another entity. For example, Reliance Industries, I'll change the color so that it's clear. Reliance Industries has formed a JV with Tata. Okay, what is the JV called? Reliance Tata JV. Okay, now this is a joint venture of the entity. Is the joint venture of the entity. Now in that case, it is a related party. Okay, so Reliance Tata JV, if you have, then this Reliance Tata JV is a related party of Reliance Industries Limited. Okay. Now, for example, if you have parent, this parent has formed some kind of JV. This parent has formed some kind of JV. Then even in that case, for Reliance Industry, this becomes a related party. Or there is an associate. Here also you have a related party relationship. Okay. So just to give you one more example, let us say we have A Limited. A Limited is an associate of S Limited. A Limited is an associate of S Limited. S Limited is a subsidiary of H Limited. S Limited is a subsidiary of H Limited, and SH Limited is a fellow subsidiary of, or SS Limited is another subsidiary of H Limited. Okay. Now, A Limited is the associate of S Limited. Are A and S Limited related party? Yes. A Limited is an associate of S Limited. Is H Limited related to A Limited? Yes, because A Limited is an associate of a member of the group. Okay. Now, is A Limited associate of SS Limited? Yes, because SS Limited and S Limited, they are a family, and if there is any associate of any member, they become related to other members also. Same thing is applicable to JV as well. So, an entity is an associate or joint venture of the other entity, that becomes a related party. Basically, if there is an associate or JV, this associate and JV are related parties. If there is an associate and JV of a group member, even then there is a related party relationship. Okay, so that is the second category. Then third category is there is a joint venture. And this joint venture is, let us say, belonging to A Limited, JV1. There is JV2 which belongs to again A Limited. Means there are two joint ventures. Here we are only talking about two joint ventures. There are two joint ventures which are belonging to same party. So let us say here Reliance Industries has two joint ventures. These two joint ventures are related party. Now think of it. If Reliance Industry here has JV1 and JV2, these two are related party, and JV1 is related party to RIL, JV2 is also related party to RIL. Sir, is JV1 related to parent? Yes, because this is a joint venture of a member of the group, so that is also related. Now, is this JV1 related to, let us say, this particular JV? Because here RIL has JV1, RIL has JV2, RIL has this JV, this is also related. Now, is this related to associate? No. It is only about two joint ventures under this category. Okay. Then, so far what we have discussed. First one is member of the group. If they are the member of the group, then a related party. Second, we have seen that if there is an associate or joint venture of the entity or a member of the group, then also it is a related party. Third, if both the entities are joint ventures of the same third party, means there is joint venture 1, joint venture 2, both of them are joint venture of a single third party, then also it is a related party. Now, in the fourth category, what we have is that there is one entity which is a joint venture and other entity is an associate of the entity. Now, what does this mean? Let us say again here, Reliance Industries Limited. They have one JV under this category, JV1. They have another associate, AS1. Okay, so not accounting standard 1, associate 1. So if there is a joint venture of an entity and associate of an entity, JV1 and AS1 are also related party of the same entity. Here we are not talking about member of the group. Please understand, here we are not talking about member of the group. So here in this example, if Reliance Industries has one more associate called AS1, these are also related parties. Then in the fifth category, we have post-employment benefit plans. Now, post-employment benefit plan of either the entity or related party of the entity. So, if there is a post-employment benefit plan, that is also a related party. Okay. Now, if you are reporting for a plan, means let's say there is a post-employment benefit plan and you are making a reporting for that, then the employers who are sponsoring, they also become related party. Then the sixth category is the entity is either controlled. So you have entity, it is either controlled or jointly controlled, by whom? By a person which we have identified in previous thing. Now who is that person? The person or the close member. Person or the close member. If these control, let us say A Limited, at the same time they also control B Limited, then A Limited and B Limited are related parties. A Limited and B Limited are related parties because, please understand, controlled. They are controlled by whom? The person or the close member of the family. So now here, if a person or a close member, the same person who is controlling A Limited and B Limited, let us say Mukesh Ambani controls Reliance Industries Limited and let us say Jio, then these are related party. Okay, so that person has control, is controlled by a person, both the entities, then it is a related party. Okay, then here we are talking about control. Controls whom? Controls the reporting entity and also the other entity. Then there is a related party relationship. Okay, that is the first category. Then the second category is the person controls the related party, the reporting entity, and the other entity he has significant influence. Then also it is a related party relationship. Now, if Mukesh Ambani controls reporting entity and also controls other entity, there is a related party relationship. If Mukesh Ambani has significant influence and controls other entity, so here control is necessary, then also it is a related party. Here if he is KMP, here again control, there is a related party relationship. Whereas if he controls the reporting entity and has significant influence on the other entity, then it is a related party, right? So the difference here is, in the first scenario he is controlling the other entity. So we have Reliance Industries and let us say we have Jio. If he controls Jio and Reliance Industries, he either controls or has significant influence or is a key management personnel, then these two are related. That is the first scenario. Second scenario is Jio, there is only a significant influence, whereas in Reliance here we need control. So one thing that you have to understand is, at least in one of the entity there is a control requirement. At least in one of the entity there is a control requirement. Okay, so if you are controlling the other sorry, if you are controlling the other entity, then the first entity you can fall into any three categories, then they are related. If you are controlling the first entity, the other entity you must have significant influence. Sir, what if we have control? See, if you have control over both the entities, then by default they become related party. But in the other entity, one entity there is significant influence, other entity there is control, then we say that this Jio is also a related party of Reliance Industries Limited. Then in the first entity you have control, and in the second entity you are a key management personnel. So even in this case you are a related party. So three scenarios we have discussed so far. One, controlling both, related party. Controlling the first, significant influence of the other, related party. Controlling the first, key MP of the other, then also related party. Sir, in both the cases if you have significant influence, then they are not related parties as per the standard. But always try to see or have an understanding of substance over legal form. Okay, maybe there is possibility that even if he is having significant influence in both the entity, but still by looking at the substance of the relationship we can say that there is a related party relationship. Then moving on to the last one, where let's say you have the reporting entity or let us say you have the parent of the reporting entity. To both of these, there is a third entity, let us say XYZ. They provide key management personnel services, or any member of this group. They provide key management personnel services, means they are providing some kind of services of key management personnel, and that is provided to whom? Either the reporting entity or to the parent of the reporting entity. Then in that case, you provide related party, or you provide, you are considered to be related party relationship. Okay, so if XYZ provides key management personnel services to either the parent or to the reporting entity, then you are considered to have relationship. So you will be considered to be related party, right? Now let's say, for example, you have one entity A Limited, you have two subsidiaries B Limited and C Limited. So these are your subsidiaries B Limited and C Limited. A also has an associate company which is E Limited. This is an associate. This is an associate. Okay. Now there is one more entity which is F Limited, which is a subsidiary of E Limited. Now there is one more company which is F Limited. This is a subsidiary of E Limited. They provide KMP to A Limited. So they provide key management services to A Limited. Right. Now, with whom all do we consider F Limited is related to? See, F Limited is related to this associate because of the holding subsidiary relationship. F Limited is related to A Limited because he is providing, or the company is providing, key management personnel services. F Limited is related to B and C also because this entity is providing KMP to the parent. So, to whom do we provide KMP? To the parent or to the reporting entity. Right? If that is provided, then we say that there is a related party relationship. Now, what is the meaning of control? Control is what we have understood as a part of consolidation. Same way, joint control we have understood as a part of, when we talked about joint arrangements and all of those related aspects. Right? Now, here we have, had an exhaustive discussion of the key management personnel relationship. Sorry. So here we had a detailed discussion of who are related parties and what kind of related parties we can see. Right. Now what I'll do is I'll quickly run you through the text of the related party relationship so that we have absolute clarity on what we have discussed so far. Now, a related party is a person or an entity that is related to the entity that is preparing its financial statement. So, the reporting entity. A person or a close member of that person's family is related to the reporting entity if that person, so there are three conditions, has control. So, this aspect talks about control or joint control, has significant influence, or is a member of key management personnel of the reporting entity, or a parent of the reporting entity. So, if you are KMP of the entity, related party. KMP of the parent of the reporting entity, then also a related party. Then an entity is related to a reporting entity. Here we talked about person, here we are talking about entity. First, the entity and the reporting entity are members of the same group, means they are parent, subsidiary and fellow subsidiary. All of these put together, they are related parties. Then one entity is an associate or JV of the other entity. So there is one entity, first entity is an associate or JV. So all associates JV are what? Related parties, and associate and JV of member of the group is also a related party. So if your family also has a JV or an associate, you are related parties. Then both entities are joint ventures of the same third party. So if there is a joint venture of a single third party, if there are two joint ventures of one third party or one party or the reporting entity, then they are related parties. Or I am a reporting entity, I am a JV, and there is one more JV. In both this JV, there is one common third party, then also it's a related party. Then one entity is a joint venture of a third entity and the other entity is an associate of the third entity. In the previous case, we said for the same third entity, there are two joint ventures. Here we are saying one joint venture and one associate. Then the entity is a post-employment benefit plan for the benefit of employees of the either the reporting entity or entity related to the reporting entity. So that is the scenario where you have a post-employment benefit plan where you are either providing benefits to your own employees or to a party which is related to your employee. The entity is controlled or jointly controlled by person identified in A. So any of these three, first category, any of these three, if they control or jointly control two entities, then both those entities are related parties. Then a person identified in A1. A1 is what? Where you have control or joint control, has significant influence over the entity or is a member of the key management personnel of the entity or of a parent of that entity. Now here what does it mean? First criteria is you have control over one entity. You have control over one entity or you have control over, let's say, reporting entity. There is another entity where you have either significant influence or you are a KMP. Then this is a related party relationship. Now, sir, can I say that I have a significant influence or KMP? I am having a significant influence or KMP, or I am a KMP of the reporting entity, and then I have a control over other entity. Now in that case, what you need to understand is, under this category, if you have a significant influence over the entity or you are a KMP, so that person, then you are now here one thing that you need to understand is, first criteria, that is you must have control or joint control. So the first criteria is control or joint control over whom? Over the entity. Here the entity means the reporting entity. Here the entity means the reporting entity, and you are also a member of the now here what you need to understand is slightly tricky. A person who is in A1, that is a person who has control or joint control over, let us say, Reliance Industries, right? That person has significant influence or is KMP of the other entity or a parent of that other entity. So for the over the other entity, he has significant influence or is a KMP. So there, if there is a significant influence in KMP, first side you have to see whether there is control or not. Only when there is control, you can say there is a related party relationship. Sir, can I say the first party there is significant influence, on the second party also there is significant influence? Are they related parties? They are not related parties. Okay. So as per this clause, you have to be very careful. On the first side you have control or joint control. On the second side you have key management personnel or significant influence. Only then it is a related party. Right? Only then it is a related party. Now vice versa does not work here. I am KMP of the reporting entity and I have control over the other entity. In this clause, that does not fit well. Okay. Then the entity or any member of the group of which it is a part provides KMP to the reporting entity or the parent of the reporting entity. So if someone is providing KMP to reporting entity or the parent of the reporting entity, that is also related party. Now, a related party transaction is a transfer of resources, services or obligation between a reporting entity and a related party regardless of whether a price is charged. So when you have any transaction, when you're transferring resources, services or obligations between two parties, then you say that there is a related party transaction. Okay. Now, some examples where some parties are not considered to be related party. Two entities simply because they have a director or other member of KMP in common. So if there is a KMP, please understand, KMP does not control. Okay. So if there are KMP, this KMP, let's say you have A Limited and B Limited. there is a single director. Now he may have influence here and here, but these two are not related party because of this relationship, because they have key management personnel, they have significant influence over the other entity. If in both the cases it is significant influence, it is not a related party. And also, if A Limited is the reporting entity, here there is significant influence and here there is control, this does not fall here. In the reporting entity, you have to see whether control is there or not. Then two joint venturers, because they share joint control of a joint venture. So we said if there is A Limited, he has two joint ventures, AB Limited and AC Limited. They are related parties. Now in the same thing, B Limited also has joint control. A Limited and B Limited, they are not related parties. Then providers of finance, trade unions, public utilities, department and agencies of government who do not jointly control or significant influence the reporting entity, they do not have, or they are not considered to be related parties. Then a customer, supplier or franchisor, distributor or general agent with whom an entity transacts a significant volume. From one customer I'm making huge amount of sales, or from one supplier I'm buying huge quantities, they are also not related parties. Disclosures for all entities, relationship between parent and its subsidiaries, you will be disclosed irrespective of whether transaction has happened or not. Then you will disclose KMP compensation in total for each of the categories. Then if you are obtaining KMP services from another entity, then you are not required to disclose the amounts given here, that is paid by the management entity. The management entity employs a director. Means I have taken KMP services, the other entity is paying something to the directors, that I don't need to disclose. Then if an entity has related party transactions during the periods covered by the financial statement, it shall disclose the nature of the related party relationship as well as information about those transactions, outstanding balances, including commitments necessary for the users to understand the potential effect of the relationship on the financial statements. Now, please understand, here what did we say? Here we said for all entities, when there is a parent and subsidiary relationship, you will have to disclose that relationship. Means when there is control, you have to disclose the relationship. Then compensation to KMP you need to disclose. Then if there is a related party transaction, you have to make disclosures. Minimum disclosures are amount of the transaction, amount of outstanding balances, then terms and conditions, guarantees received, provision for bad debts, outstanding balances, expenses recognized during the period. All of those things you have to make disclosures of. Not only that, you will also make disclosures of amounts incurred by the entity for the provision of KMP services that are provided by separate management entity, that also you need to disclose. Then you will group them and disclose in the category of parent when there is joint control. So joint control, you'll have cases of JV and all of that, or significant influence, subsidiaries, associates, joint ventures in which the entity is a joint venturer, KMP and other related parties, right? That is a broad classification. So, that is how you make the disclosures. Basically, and nature of transaction, amount of transaction, outstanding balances, bad debts and all of those needs to be disclosed properly here, right? So that covers large part of the standard, and similar nature may be disclosed in aggregate, unless a separate disclosure is required. If there is a government related entity, then you are exempt from disclosing the requirements that we understood in paragraph 18 regarding the transactions. When a government has control or joint control or significant influence over the reporting entity, because in a lot of cases when there is government involvement, government does not want, or government says because government is entering into those transactions, you don't need to disclose such kind of transactions, okay? Or another entity that is a related party because the same government has control or joint control or significant influence over both the reporting entity and the other entity. Now think of it, there is government, there is BPCL, and there is IOCL. The government has a common ownership. Our government controls both the entities. But even then, you don't need to disclose these transactions because they are government-related entities. So when government is involved, generally government, believes that transactions would have happened at arm's length price only. Then certain additional disclosures are required if you are following this particular, exemption for government entities. Right. So that is where we come to the conclusion of Ind AS 24. Disclosures are very important. go through the notes, revise the disclosures a couple of times, and revise who is related party and who is not a related party.